Now the questions related to chapter 19, the reactions of organic compounds. For this, you have to memorize some reactions, which I already have given you in my other video, the must known material. Okay. So otherwise, you will not be able to answer these questions. Let's see one by one. The flow diagram shows the polyethane that is made from petroleum. So what are the stages? The first stage of making the alkanes from petroleum is fractional distillation. Okay, so first step is petroleum is converted into smaller hydrocarbons through the process of fractional distillation. So these two options are right. Then these alkanes, the alkanes can be converted into alkenes because this is alkene, ENE, right? It can be only converted into alkene through the process of catalytic cracking. So cracking is the option. Now, through addition polymerization, the alkenes can be converted into polymers. Okay, so through the polymerization, ethene will be converted into polyethene. So option C is the right option. Let's see question 116. The fractional distillation of petroleum is shown over here. Which fraction contains hydrocarbon with the longest chain length? Of course, any carbon that has the longest chain length will have the highest melting and boiling point. So it will stay at the bottom, right? So at the bottom, you are going to get the hydrocarbon with the longest chain. So option D is the right option. Let's see which equation represent the cracking of alkane. So the cracking of alkane will always give you alkenes and alkane. The shorter alkane and alkene, you will get 2 or 3 products from one reactant. Okay, so if you see this is one reactant and you are going to get 2 products here, right? So this is the only right option in which you are going to get alkane and alkene. So the option D is the correct option. Let's see question 118. Methane reacts with chlorine in sunlight. Which statement about these reactions are correct? First of all, methane belongs to alkane group. So alkanes can only do the substitution reaction. They cannot do addition reaction. So substitution reaction is the only right option. And the second one, to react with the halogen, they need the sunlight. Can you see over here? So sunlight means it is a photochemical reaction. So 1 and 3 is the right option. Option A is correct. Let's see 119. Propene reacts with bromine to give one product only. What is the formula of that product? So if you see, propene is alkene. So alkenes can do addition reaction with halogens. So bromine, when react with alkene, alkenes have a double bond in there. They have at least one double bond in between the carbon. So when a bromine will react, you will see 2 bromines at the 2 different carbons. So see where we can find 2 bromine and they are attached to 2 different carbons. Here it is attached to 1 carbon, right? So this is wrong. Here this is right because it is attached to 2 different carbons. Here it is also right. And here this one is, there is only 1 bromine. So it is wrong, right? Because bromine is a diatomic molecule. You can see 2 bromine. So now which option is the correct option? Because the carbon-carbon double bond is in the adjacent carbon atoms, so the bromine should also be present on adjacent carbons. Can you see over here, this bromine is present on number 2 and this bromine is present on number 3. But here the bromine is present on 1 and this bromine is present on number 3. This is second. So it means only option C is the right answer. 2 and 3 are the adjacent carbons. So that's why option C is the correct option. Let's see question 120. Which equation represent an addition reaction? Addition reaction, remember that it's not about this one. Okay, when bromine will be added, you will get only 1 product. For addition reaction, remember that 2 reactants react and give you only 1 product. So option A is the only right option because you are looking, can you look over here that only we are getting 1 product. Okay, 2 reactants and giving you 1 product. So option A is the right option here. Question 121. Ethanol can be manufactured by fermentation process or catalytic addition. So you have to describe the advantages of manufacturing ethanol by fermentation. The yield of ethanol is low. Yes, it's low. So, but it's not an advantage. We have to talk about the advantage. The method use a batch process. Again, it's not an advantage. The process takes place at lower temperature. Yes, this is one of the advantage. And the second advantage is ethanol is always made by a renewable resource. Why? Because we are using sugarcane and it is a renewable resource. We can grow the crops every season, right? So option 3 and 4 are the actual advantages. That is option D. Let's see question 122. Ethanol is produced by the catalytic addition of steam to ethene or fermentation. Which statement is correct? Both processes use similar amount of energy. Wrong. In steam process, we have to use more energy. Both processes use a catalysis. That's right. because in catalytic addition of the steam to ethene, we use a catalyst, and also in fermentation, the yeast is used as a catalyst, okay? The yeast enzymes are used as catalysts, so option B is the right option over here. Let's see 123, a compound with the formula CH3COCH2O5 is formed from ethanol in two separate reactions. Okay, which row describe reaction 1 and 2? When ethanol reacts with ethanoic acid, it's always the for ethanol and ethanoic acid. Okay, ethanol reacts to form ethanoic acid. So it's only the process of oxidation. When ethanol reacts with a monoatomic oxygen, it will produce ethanoic acid. So this is a process of oxidation. Ethanoic acid, when react with ethanol, they give you an ester. So this is the formation of ester. Okay, so option A is the right option over here. Let's see 124. What is the disadvantage of producing ethanol using the catalytic addition of steam? So the main disadvantage is that we are using a non-renewable energy resource. That is the main disadvantage of this process. So option C is the right option. 125. Methanoic acid and propanol react to form an ester. What is the structure formula of an acid? It is simple. One of them should have only one carbon before CO bond. So CO bond, we have only one carbon, right? This is the one that is a part of ethanoic acid. And then propanol, we should have three carbons because propane means three carbons, right? So option A is the only right option here. Let's see question 126. The structure of organic compound X is shown here. What is X? Simply, this is your carboxylic acid. So how many carbon we have? 2. So it is ethanoate. Can you see ethanoate here? Yes. And what about this one? This is only one carbon. So it's ethyl. It is made up of alcohol. Oh, sorry, methyl. Because one carbon, so methyl. So methyl ethanoate is the right option. Option C. 127. The structure of ester is shown over here. Which row identifies the name of ester and the two compounds from which it is made up of? If you see, this is your carboxylic acid. So how many carbon we have? 3 carbons. So it means it is propanoic acid. So can you find propanoic acid? Yes, we have propanoic acid here. And how many carbon we have here? So this one is ethanol. So it is actually 2 carbons. So it is ethanol, right? So this option, the two options are right. So now how we will name it? The ethanol name will come first. So it should be ethyl propanoate. Can you see here? Yes, ethyl propanoate is the right answer. So option A is correct.